Now, if you're trying to get your body rotating through the golf ball, but you find you hit an absolute brick wall with the amount of rotation you can get, that's not just your athleticism making you stop, that is your golf swing technique that is making you stop. So we're going to get into the three main reasons I see for golfers who just can't rotate through the golf ball. And this is a lot of stuff we're talking about here you won't hear from another coach as well. So this is diving into the root cause issues. These are no quick fixes. These are root cause issues if you want to make proper, meaningful change. So let's get straight into it. So let's get into the first one here. And if you don't fix it, you will never rotate in the downswing. I'm not exaggerating, you just won't do it. And that is you are standing way too close to the ball. Way too close. You could even say close to the butt end of the club. This will kill your rotation. Because for rotation, what we need, which this whole video is themed around, and that is we need space. Because when we turn the downswing, our hands are going to go down, absolutely, they will do. Gravity is going to help you do that. But the hands will go out. If I stretch out my arms here and then I rotate my body, the hands and arms are going to follow you. Now, if we're rotating in good sequencing, lower body, mid torso going first, arms and chest going afterwards, your hands will still go out. If you're standing too close to the golf ball and you're turning like that, what's going to happen? I'm going to hit the hosel. I'll demonstrate that, but I don't want to damage the walls. So what you would see players here who are too close, they would immediately try to give themselves room. So what you might see them back away a little bit in the backswing, pelvis go forward, upper body slightly go back, lose their shoulder tilt. That's one thing they could do. That gives you now loads more room. But you can't turn. You would have to just use your arms and flip through. You might think, again, I just can't rotate. I don't feel like I've got the mobility or the athleticism to be able to do that. I mean, guys, I've got cerebral palsy, as I talk about all the time in my videos. Affects my lead side. I can rotate. It's a lot more about your technique than it is about your athleticism. If I had the athleticism, Dustin Johnson, sure, I'd be able to rotate a lot better, of course, we all would, but we aren't like him. So that's where we need to give ourselves space. You are going to have to do something to stop the rotation if you're standing too close, which forces the hands out. You might even drop the hands down a ton, under-rotate the chest, under-rotate the hips to give you room going through the shot, or just a classic stand-up. So I want you to have room. So do this, the hang loose sign. Thumb on the belt buckle, pinky finger on the butt end of the club. There we go. That's a nice amount of distance. It's going to feel for a lot of you like you're like this. But again, look on camera. You're not like that at all. So there we go. Lovely. Now what we want to do from here is now we're just free to turn. Because I've got all the space, I can turn and load into my trail hip nicely, and I can turn the downswing. The slight outward effect of hand path that happens with rotation is not going to get the club too much on the outside of the ball line. I need room. Lovely little push straw there to target. I will not be able to rotate if I didn't have room. It's going to give you space, and you need to stand further away from the golf ball. This, the hang loose sign, like a surfer, is the way to go. Gets you standing nicely. Might feel far away at the start, but it's what you need. So the second reason of why you can't rotate in the downswing is how you're loading into this hip, the right hip for a right-handed golfer, in the backswing. So what I see for a lot of golfers, what they'll do, they'll be turning, coming back, and their right hip will slightly drift forward. If I had, let's say, a really busy day online coaching, let's say I had 15 lessons to do in a day, I can guarantee if those, let's say, for example, those were all brand new students, I would see probably about 8 of them do this. So just over half of people do that. That's probably conservative. It'll probably be about 10, to be honest, where they'll move that right hip forward. It is such a common thing. Draw a pelvis line and you'll start to see this lower body start to move forward, coming back. You're not loading into this hip properly. So what that's going to do, that's going to get you closer to the golf ball. And then from there, we've not got room. So what we can't do is rotate. Because if you rotated from there, the club's going to be way outside the ball line. You'll have a bad time. So you would start to see body stand up. So if the right hip doesn't load and it starts to move slightly forward, you won't be able to feel it when it happens. So you've got to look and see whether you're doing it. You have to stand up and stall out your rotation to be able to hit the ball solidly. So we've got to do 2 things here. We've got to get that right hip going back, like someone's grabbing that right trouser pocket and putting it back. So again, if I had a nice line here and I'm turning, you're going to see how my pelvis is going to stay nicely on that line. That's what we want, because then that's going to give us room to be able to turn in a downswing. Again, when there's no golf ball in a practice swing, when you do some rotation, it always looks like the club's going more out in front of you. It's just because gravity isn't assisting you with a downward hand path as well. So be aware of that. You're not going to swing over the top. But you can see I've got room now. Look at all this space, so much room, whereas if I was here, I'm dead. Boom. So I need that space, I need that room. Let's get into a great little drill to do to feel this really nicely. So with our drill, all we need is another golf ball. What we do, we can do this, again, not hitting a golf ball, do this at home, completely away from the range, you'll benefit your game a ton. So we want to be able to turn in the backswing. So like we said, there's two things. We're getting our right hip going back, but we're loading into the right hip being the second thing here. So it's like ultimately like we're squeezing like a lemon in our right hip. So we're not just pushing it back, that can get our right leg extending too quickly. We're loading into that hip. It's like we're turning into that femur. So what we do, get your golf ball, put it right here in your hip crevice. And I want you to turn that backswing. Feel like someone's grabbing that right trouser pocket and back, let it go. It should stay there. You want to try and squeeze it, really squeeze it. If your hips go forward, that crevice is going to straighten. It's a very good drill. So we're still trying to get that right hip going back. Squeeze that ball. So really give it a good squeeze. Put some pressure in it. And there you go. That's our sensation. That's our feeling. Let's take it away. So that same sensation. You should feel as you do this, the weight be anywhere around here. So it would be either inside midfoot, you can even have it inside the heel if you really have the weight go forward into the toes with the pelvis going forward. I'd want you to feel the weight here. If you don't struggle with this as much, you just want to learn how to load the hip better, into the midfoot is where you should feel that pressure. We shouldn't see any of this. This is awful. Check if your swing does this. Moving that way. See how my inside of my right foot is coming up? Don't want that because then you've got to get it back and your body's just going to prioritize trying to laterally slide rather than blending in, slide or shift and rotation. Loading up that hip. Get that feeling with the ball. Squishing it in my hip crevice. That's going to get me some good hip depth, going to give me space. And it's going to make me turn through the golf ball a lot better. Okay, so the third reason of why you can't rotate, you might actually be doing those first two nicely. But then, as you're coming through the golf ball, that left knee stays too straight, it stays too bent. So I don't know what's up with my words today. So you're way too bent with that left leg. So if you're too bent with that left leg, you are not going to have any last little bit of hip rotation. So we see a lot of players who stall out their hip rotation and their rotation in general through impact, but they might look good earlier. That left knee stays tremendously bent. We don't want that to happen. We need that left side to straighten up. We want a little bit of this, a little bit of straightening. Now that does a couple things. As you can see, as I do that, as I straighten up that left leg going through the golf ball, you can see how that motion rotates my hips. Now I'll actually tell you what is actually controlling that. There's a couple ways you can focus on this, which is good. So left leg is straightening. That is getting you to clear your hips last minute. You've got to have that motion happen. The vertical force that you're putting into the ground, there's a video I've got coming out about squatting. That's a really important thing for that video. But then this is going to get that vertical force that you're putting in coming out again, but it also rotates you through impact. So if you struggle with that stall through the golf ball, this is the one. Oh, that was a nice strike. Feels whippy, which is great. So like we said, there's a great drill which I'm going to show you here, which is brilliant for this. Absolutely gets people turning like anything. It's probably one of my most popular drills with my students online on Skillist, which there is a link in the description if you do want one-to-one help with myself, identifying your root causes and putting a good plan together to fix that. Free swing analysis as well if you want to try before you buy. Okay, so we could do this in multiple ways. A lot of people quite commonly now like to think of ground force reactions, pushing out their toe, pushing forward with their left foot, which then will propel you back. You can do that, absolutely. We see a lot of guys do that instinctively. Pushing forward with the toes, that gets that left side extending going through the golf ball. Absolutely does. It's a way to do it. I don't personally like to feel that all too much. I do that quite naturally with driver. I don't like feeling it too much with irons. I feel like when I do that, my strike kind of moves this way as well, and I start to hit it toe-y. So what I would like to do is feel the left hip go back, where technically the same forces are happening. I would still be pushing into the ground subconsciously if I was on force plates doing this. Left hip would come back, and you can see that gets me into some nice left leg extension as I move through impact. So say I'm starting the downswing, I'm getting pressure left, belt buckle on top of that left heel, and then left hip go back. You see how that gets me to straighten the club or straighten the left leg, and it happens, that straightening will happen from about shaft parallel into the ball. Great one to do. Awesome. So that's a very valid way of doing it. That's the way I like to do it. I feel like it gets it a little bit more holistically with a little bit less of a downside to it. Awesome. Oh, that's nice. Trackman's obviously tired of me today. Didn't want to pick that one up. It felt all right. That's a good way of doing it. You can also just feel the snapping of the left leg straight. Again, that one a lot of players are quite hesitant on because it feels like it could be damaging to the knee. This motion isn't necessarily damaging, again, but it's something that, again, can make golfers hesitant. If you're hesitant over something, you're most likely not going to trust it. So that's where I'd recommend, especially the second one. Expanding on that, if you've stuck around to this point, you're in luck because you're going to get the best drill. And this is right here with a wedge. So what we do with this wedge, we put it underneath our foot. We angle the wedge behind our left leg. This is going to teach you to extend that leg going through golf ball really nicely. So get our good turn. And as we start to move down that downswing, you can see there, you're getting your left leg to go back to hit the club behind your calf. So good. As you can see, turns you really well. I say this is an absolute favorite of my students. We let it go after impact there. So, okay, angle it behind that left leg. Set out to that golf ball. I just want to make sure I'm loading into that trail hip, giving myself space here. Don't stand too close, don't be silly. And now get my left leg hitting that club behind me. Lovely, look at that. Tiny kind of fade on it, which if you turn really well, you'll start to get that a little bit. Especially if you're an in-to-out golfer, neutralizing you, that's a great sign. Great, great drill. Let me do one more because it feels very good. So load into that trail side still, but make sure you're getting this here. And this is going to be one of the other pieces of the puzzle for you to be able to create some space. Again, if you're then getting that left hip going back, you're keeping that space coming through that impact area. You're not closing up and in. If you keep the left leg bent, that space has gone through the impact area. So, okay, here we go. Another one. Best one yet. Oh, let's end on that. Okay, so that's where this is more movement pattern based today. A little bit of a position set up and then movement pattern based through backswing and downswing. Now, there are plenty other things that can cause you to not rotate, early extend, all the above. So little things you're doing with your technique, very intricate things. Now, that's where, again, if you need help on this, you can always, again, contact me there on Skillist. One-to-one lessons, we can always do loads of lesson options on there. Absolutely be a great one for you to go and pull the trigger on for coming into season. But I also have a full course on this called The Ultimate Guide to Rotation in a Downswing. Goes through tons and tons of root causes to be able to, of course, fix this. So root causes that are causing you to do the motion and how to fix them with a good plan for each single one of those root causes. It's great. It really gives you a good coaching level understanding on rotation, which I feel for these topics like rotation or early extension, for example, or even over the top, shallowing the club, courses on all those as well that I've got. They give you that level of knowledge that I believe you need to be able to fix this properly in your golf swing. But again, if you want one-to-one help, you can fire that away as well. So if you enjoyed this video, click that like button. If you want more golf instruction just like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video, guys. And absolutely, this is going to help you way better to turn and rotate through the golf ball.